explorers who are walking across glaciers and doing the exploration and worried about crevasses. Well, that's what they are. They're cracks in the glacier. And you need to imagine that not only the ones that you see, but the ones that are more dangerous, of course, are the ones which are there, but are calved over by a small roof of snow, perhaps only a few inches in depth. So it looks like regular depth. And don't forget, snow depth in Antarctica is up to 4 kilometers deep. So you break through and you fall, the hole could be over a mile. It's a long way. So, back in the Australian Antarctic expedition led by Douglas Mawson, at the early portion of the 20th century, 3 individuals were doing research on the opposite side of the continent. Douglas Mawson was the expedition leader. He had with him Xavier Mertz from Belgium, who was a world-class skier, and he also had Belgrade Ninnis, who was a cavalry officer and the youngest member of the team. They were traveling in a single file with 3 different dog sleds. Mertz, the experienced one, in the front, Mawson, also very experienced, in the middle, and Ninnis, the least experienced, in the back, in the safe position, because clearly if you have 2 people cross over, much safer position. And avalanche up at the top and the big crack right through there. Yep. He has the tent, all the dog food, and most of the food and supplies. Mertz starts to see a little bit of undulation. It recognizes the signs of potentially crevasse area, slows down, turns to speak to Mawson. Mawson is riding on the sledge, writing in the log, keeping the scientific book and the diary entries. Mawson turns to relay the warning back to Ninnis, and there's nothing but a featureless ice plain all the way to the horizon. They stop, they carefully run back, and there is about a 9-foot wide opening and a 150-foot drop. And at the bottom of the 150-foot drop is one dog with a broken back and nothing else. And they stay and they yell for him, but of course there is nothing they can do. And they are 300 miles from the base camp. And down that hole besides Ninnis was, again, the tent, all the dog food, and most of the food and supplies for the rest of that portion of the expedition. And so they start back. Probably not going to make it, but they do start back. And they get within 100 miles, and Mertz dies. We now know why. They did not know at the time, but he died of vitamin A poisoning, eating the dog livers.
Oh, jeez.
And they thought they were healthy for them, but you can get too much vitamin A. And this is where Trevor picked up the story a little bit, where Mawson is by himself 100 miles from his home. Going to die for sure, and he must be back by the 1st of February because that's when the ship departs the expedition. And he makes it within 9 kilometers, just about 5 miles of the base on the 1st of February. And the ship sails.
Oh.
Can't wait for him. Don't know that he's even out there. And he's trapped that distance, 5 miles short of the goal, for 10 straight days because of that crevasse issue that was out there. And he stumbles into camp 10 days late, knowing that the ship is lost and knowing that he's going to die at the camp. And then the door opens to the hut, and because 6 of his shipmates, knowing that he was dead, volunteered on the 1,000,000 to 1 chance that he would be alive, and stayed for him, and they had to remain there for 1 full year before the ship came back. So, crevasses. It's one of the reasons we walked you up on this direction, but not across the glacier. It was in 1911. All right, if you are walking down, you're more than welcome to start. I want to have to start the walkers down first. If you are contemplating sliding, I'm not saying that we're going to slide, we'll look at it. I'd like to have the sliders just wait for about a minute, let the walkers get a head start on the game plan, and we will check the sliding conditions. If it's good, then we'll let you go. If it's not, then we'll just all hike on down. I cannot have anybody stay here after I clear the mountaintop. That makes sense to everybody, okay?